Sydney Sweeney, who I've worked with a couple times before, she texted me and she said, "Hey Mike, would you like to come to Italy to make a horror movie with me?" And immediately I was like, this is the best text message I've ever received in my life. And so yeah, she sent me the script and I immediately saw the potential in the story, and I just jumped at the chance. One of the big MOs in terms of when I've sort of pivoted into making more genre-related films is trying to make things that are left of center, but still has left of center, that has an edge to it, and that keeps the audience guessing. I feel like, you know, me as an audience member, I'm just trying to make the kinds of films that I want to see. And with this story, I saw not only the potential to make a very classy horror movie, but also one that speaks to this particular moment in time. The story is about a young novice named Cecilia Jones, who comes to this rural part of Italy in order to become a nun. And 2.5 months after arriving, she discovers that she's pregnant, and everyone at the convent believes that it's the second coming of Jesus Christ. Soon she realizes all is not what it seems at the convent. Sydney's she's like the best. She's the best. She's such a great actor. She's such a great human being. And I think that, I don't know, I just feel so lucky to work with her because she's just so giving and so generous. And I think the two of us, I mean, we've worked together now 2 other times. I cast her in Everything Sucks, my television show, and then she came on to collaborate with me on The Voyeurs. And I think that there's just a little bit of a, you know, we're in this together kind of spirit when you're shooting something. We're unafraid to take risks. We're able to just be really casual about this thing. And I think in this era, like a lot of times people like to romanticize the role of actors and directors. But the truth is that it's a job, it's work. And I don't know about you, but like I want to have a good time at my job. And when you're working with someone like Sydney, it just makes the job fun. She's also just incredible. She's an incredible actress, and I'm so lucky to have been able to make as many projects with her as I have now. This is a big departure from Sydney's other roles because she's playing a nun. She's not wearing makeup, and it's a much more sort of reserved and curious and meek character that goes on this very wild arc. At the same time, it delivers those big performance, tears running down her face, screaming, snot running down her face, all of those big moments that people crave from this genre. What we're trying to do with this film is to bring back the classic sense of horror like Rosemary's Baby or The Exorcist, where it still has those jump scares, it still has those moments that get under your skin, but it's the kind of film where, let's say you don't watch every single horror movie that comes out, but every once in a while you want to dip your toe into it. This is that type of movie. It's a much more classy, classic storytelling type of approach. And on top of that, the aesthetic of this film, we are trying to make each frame really look like almost like a Renaissance painting. And so the way that we're approaching the quality of light, the way we're approaching the actual cinematography, especially here in Rome, we just want to make a film that is, I don't know, it's both commercial and also very, artistic as well. When you go to see a horror movie, you want the beginning of the movie to set the tone. And for me, this is a movie that doesn't play by the rules. It's a film that you think might go one direction, but actually goes this other direction. And so for me, I just wanted to make the beginning of the film, I wanted to knock audiences off balance so they didn't know, what to expect. So there's this great quote from horror director Wes Craven. He's one of the best horror directors ever, right? And he says, the first monster that an audience has to be scared of is the filmmaker. They have to feel in the presence of someone not confined to the normal rules of propriety and decency. And I'm a pretty unassuming guy, so I'm not gonna, but I think you can do that through the storytelling by starting the movie with something that is so shocking that it takes a minute for the audience to recover. The truth is that you just don't want the audience to feel safe, because if they feel safe, or if they feel like the story is moving along this predetermined beats, you can kind of expect when the scares are going to happen, or you can kind of expect when the twists and turns are gonna unfold. Whereas with this one, I just wanted it to feel dangerous. I wanted it to start and for the audience to go, "Oh shit, this is gonna be rough," in the funnest of ways. The film came together so quickly, right? Sydney sent me the script only 5 months ago, and originally the script was about a high school kid who then goes to a religious school in Italy. And when I read it, my first thought was, what if she's a nun? What can we do to this character to make the story feel more dangerous? And so we went in the direction of making her a nun. Also because as a fan of Sydney Sweeney, I just wanted to see her play something completely different from the other characters that she's known for. And also I know Sydney very well as a human too, and I just knew I could draw something new out of her that people haven't seen before. And so the film came together so quick. We came here to Italy and we started scouting convents. And unlike other films where, with The Voyeurs, I had written that script 2 years prior to it being greenlit. So when I would go to bed at night, I could watch the movie playing in my mind. And then we went to Montreal and then I shot that movie, and that's the movie that it is. With this one, things were changing so rapidly that we sort of had to just embrace the process of what this journey would bring us on, what this journey would bring us. And so we were looking at traditional convents all throughout Italy, and I was thinking the aesthetic of convents has been done to death. There are a million movies set in convents. There are a million movies about nuns. What if we do something a little bit more heightened? And that's where we found the place we're shooting right now. It's called Villa Parisi, which is a location that's very famous in Italy for, tons of 70s horror films have been shot here. There's a real history to this place. You can feel it in the walls. I mean, the great Mario Bava shot Bay of Blood here. It's got a character all of its own, and it's not a convent, but it's something greater than a convent. It's got these beautiful frescoes on the walls, and so we made the decision okay, let's not stick to the hard and fast rules of having this rigid convent environment where every location looks the same. Let's make this convent a little bit askew and a little bit more fantastical and a little bit more, just more crazy to look at, more visual eye candy than you typically associate with this genre. And I think that then, when the cast shows up and they see this is the world my character lives in, that helps inform the different decisions tonally. That affects their decisions in terms of an actor, because they see the space they reside in. And so for me, I'm just, I think the role of a director is to be, I always refer to it as two things. You're a strategist of visuals, meaning you have to figure out a shot plan that fits in your day and that captures the story as best as you can within the resources you have. And the second thing a director does is they're a cheerleader for actors. And so whenever an actor shows up and if they have something very specific they want to bring to the character, it's my job to root for them and make sure that and harness their enthusiasm so that it can all be part of this beautiful potpourri of a film that is far better than anything I could have imagined on its own. The film is really beautiful. For a horror movie, it is. We are really trying to make painterly looking frames. And my cinematographer, Elijah Christian, he was actually my roommate in college. So we've been working together now for over 2 decades. Our very first film that we ever made together was shot on the course of over the course of 2 years on nights and weekends, where he was manning the HVX 2000 and I'd be pushing the dolly and holding the boom mic at the same time. And so now we're every time out we're trying to challenge ourselves to do something more and more elegant. Actually, that's the word we constantly are using with regards to our taste level. And one of the things that's so fantastic about Italy is that the people here take so much pride in their craft. And so for us to step into this and go like, hey, we want to, yeah, it's a horror movie, but we want, like, let's all be like, sometimes horror movies get a bad rap as being, lesser than. But truly, I think that they're far more challenging from a cinematic perspective. And they're especially more challenging when you're trying to do something that really looks a cut above. And I just have to say, Elijah, I mean, he's my best friend, he's my brother, he's doing an incredible job, but he also has like an incredible team surrounding him, an incredible team of like really passionate craftspeople who are making something that I think everybody feels like incredibly proud of.